Hey guys, I'm back. I'm also Sarah, and my channel is officially 1 year old today! This balloon is way bigger than I thought it would be on camera. And to honor my first year on YouTube, I'm going to be remaking my first ever video. Incels, famous women, and incels hating famous women is probably going to be relevant for at least the rest of my life. So, let's get started! 2024 was a disproportionately good year for pop music. From Brat Summer to APT in the fall, this was the year of the pop girly. But Charli XCX, Sabrina Carpenter, and Rosé were already proven hitmakers, so it wasn't too surprising when they hit their definitive peaks in 2024. But I don't think anybody was ready for the bombshell that would hit the charts in April. Olivia Rodrigo began touring her album, Guts, in February of 2024. For the first US leg of the tour, an unknown, at least on the pop charts, please don't come after me, artist was scheduled to open. Kaylee Rose Amstutz, or as she's more commonly known, Chappell Roan, spent her 2023 climbing up from 500,000 monthly listeners to 1 million monthly listeners on Spotify. So what better way was there to start the new year than to travel around the country opening for one of the biggest pop girlies in the world? I don't think she or any of us could have foreseen how massively this already great opportunity would pay off for her career. Good Luck Babe, a breakup anthem to a closeted girlfriend, which premiered at number 77 on the Billboard Top 100, was Chappell's first foray into the charts, and ever since, she has literally never left them. Along with Good Luck Babe, other songs from her 2023 album, The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess, began popping up on the charts in spring to summer of 2024. She began ruling the pop charts, and once she was done opening for Olivia, she went on her own massively successful tour. She even performed for like 20,000 people at the Governor's Ball in New York. She had gone from fairly small shows to opening for someone who was massively successful, but in an opening slot, so not everyone was there yet, to literally being one of the biggest artists alive. Her songs, Good Luck Babe, Hot to Go, Red Wine Supernova, Casual, were all stuck in everybody's heads. I mean, they're probably always going to be stuck in everybody's heads. And you might have heard her very popular song Pink Pony Club at multiple very large award shows, including the Grammys. Chappell is, for me, the only openly queer woman I've seen who writes songs about being into girls and relationships with girls, and those songs still get on the pop charts, and she is still massively successful even with like normies. If it wasn't explicitly super abundantly obvious, Chappell Roan is very, very gay. She's been openly queer for her entire career, but officially called herself a lesbian for the first time in a 2024 show, which is so cool, so difficult, so impressive. But her queerness, along with the fact that she is a woman who exists, who is perceived in the public eye, makes her prime bait for one of the most dangerous and fast-growing communities on the internet, the incels. Incel literally means involuntary celibate, so someone who wants to be sexually active but hasn't had any success in becoming so. But today, we associate that word with many more things, like being chronically online, being a conservative, being conventionally unattractive, and hating women and attractive men. Incels range from self-pitying to being actually physically violent to those they think are subjugating them to their lonely, miserable, and celibate lives. They also happen to be a very diverse group of people, with many of them resenting the conventional beauty standards that make white, able-bodied men and women the crux of attractiveness. Wait, that kind of sounds like something I would agree with. It even sounds like, dare I say, feminist rhetoric? So if we agree on this point, the crux of their entire ideology, where did they go so wrong? I mean, first of all, it starts with another harmful society thing, toxic masculinity. Not only that a man should be a strong masculine provider who never cries and never has any emotions, but also that he should be always sexually active, that he constantly desires sex and has the ability to have sex with multiple attractive women, so that when it's time to do his masculine duty and settle down, he has his pick of the litter. Basically, I realized this yesterday, The Bachelor. He wants to be the bachelor. This emphasis on sexual prowess for men is the complete opposite to the emphasis on purity for unmarried women. But regardless of traditional societal expectations, we live in a society where women are allowed to have sex before they're married. Efforts to destigmatize women's sexuality have been happening since at least the 60s and 70s, with the popularization of birth control and the Roe v. Wade decision adding another layer of protection for women who want to be sexually active outside of marriage or baby making. R.I.P. Roe v. Wade, by the way, guys. Near, far, wherever you are, I believe that the heart must go on. So, in theory, all these manly men with their rampant sexual appetites should have a plethora of available sexually active young women to have sex with, right? Well, unfortunately for some creeps, the women's liberation movement also came with another consequence: the ability for women to say no and pick who to be sexually active with. You need to leave! Because when women are allowed to have bank accounts, own property, and get jobs, they no longer need a man to be financially stable and happy. When men stopped being explicitly necessary, they had to become, as @DapperDamo on Twitter said, actually likable. And as soon as women started exercising their right to consent and, God forbid, find people unattractive, some men were desperate to go back to the good old days. And incels are no different. The pressure for men to be sexually active and constantly desire sex with women is written all over incel discourse. Many incels are porn addicts who use it to supplement all the sex they're supposed to be having. Sex goes from an aspect of life that may or may not happen to you at any moment to the entire crux of your personality. Their perceived failing becomes their entire world, and they resent anyone they see as an obstacle. So, who's to blame? Is it the patriarchal system that tells young boys that sex should be everything to them? Is it the Eurocentric beauty standards that have shaped what all of us view as attractive? Is it the porn industry that changes young people's perception of sex through unhealthy depictions? No, obviously not. Attractive men and all women, also known as Chads and Stacys, are obviously the ones to blame. If I had as much power as incels think any woman has, this world would be very, very different. Attractive men, which, by the way, their definition of is wildly inconsistent, are able to have sex with no work put in, which the incels couldn't possibly even imagine. Women are, not having sex with them. We are apparently shallow, irresponsible, barely human sluts who value wealth and appearance over all. We exist as objects and give ourselves up to any attractive man who looks our way. All that stupid women's lib and feminism stuff is just an excuse we all made up so that we can whore ourselves out to the nearest hottie and not have to face the consequences. I don't know. We subjugate those poor average men by being kind to each other and insisting that every woman is beautiful. Nobody lives a harder life than the average ugly man, and we're to blame for their loneliness. Why? Because, and I quote, women owe them sex. One of the biggest affronts to incel ideology is queerness. Whether they're judging gay men or being awfully, abhorrently, cruelly bigoted towards trans women, incels have LGBTQ and plus covered. But what could be worse to an incel than a lesbian? A woman who exists and is more desirable than they think they will ever be, but who also isn't interested in men at all? Incels think women are built to please men, and we're just rebelling like little kids and not giving them what they're owed. So what could be worse than a woman who has no interest at all in fulfilling her purpose? Their hatred, of course, manifests in good old harassment, but it also comes in the form of sick sexual fantasies. There's a whole subset of the incel community called rape cells, whose biggest desire is to take advantage of women who don't want them for revenge, or I guess in their minds, to get what they're owed. And, of course, it was very easy to find these 4chan incels doing this same thing to one of our most popular lesbian celebrities, Chappell Roan. Comments about her oscillate between degrading and sick sexual fantasies, like what they'd like to do to her, what they'd like her to do to them. Ew. I'm going to show and tell some examples. So if you're not comfortable seeing those, and they're really, really bad, so I would suggest being extra cautious. Skip to the timestamp I'm putting on the screen. How about this one? It's crazy how you horny F-slurs will make a girl that would probably go unnoticed in your class with enough marketing. Or, in the real world, men set trends. Women merely follow them. Oh, how about she looks like she gives good BJs? She probably would get noticed for it. NTA. But 99% of
Kaylee will
lesbians
soon
are
see the
lesbians.
error
It
of
means
her
only
ways.
men they can get. Kaylee needs a baby in her tummy. At least someone here has the right idea. A lesbian is a double blow to your fragile manhood because she will remove more women from the pool of women that want nothing to do with you in the first place. Sad, really. Thank you. Part of what fuels these awful and unrealistic beliefs about women is a lack of socialization. Many incels are neurodivergent, disabled, or simply have social anxiety problems. So, of course, that is a setback when it comes to socialization, which I totally understand. So, when you find a community of people who seem to have the same problems as you and have found someone to blame for them, it's so easy to embrace their beliefs as your own. This is part of a process called horizontal radicalization. Other groups, like ISIS, do have hierarchies and a group of recruiters who target certain demographics of people, such as young Muslim people in college, to radicalize in a process called vertical radicalization. I know, we were very original with these names, guys. The biggest trigger to be radicalized by online groups like Incels or QAnon starts with a loss of purpose, which is common among all radicalization. And then loss of purpose leads to internet addiction, where you find groups like Incels and QAnon. Multiple former Incels have stated that real-life socialization has been a primary factor in leaving the community, and that real-world experience has made them relate more to women and thus understand how women feel and thus respect women. For men whose interaction with women has been primarily defined by an absentee mother or an abusive female figure in their life, they are going to think that every woman is that kind of person because that is every woman they've ever had a significant attachment to. So when they go online and see that there's a group of people who hate women and think they're the cause of everything, hey, that's great. Just like me, right? Something that might change that opinion is having a job with a female coworker who is kind to you, seeing customers who are kind to you, going to a club meeting where women are, going out to a restaurant by yourself and having a nice female server. These are all real life interactions that can fundamentally change these people's perspectives on women and make them see them as human. Real life interaction with women is the biggest threat to incels because it makes all of their ideology sound so stupid, guys. So the biggest way you can protect that ideology is by keeping people online and shutting the real world out. Chappell Roan became a bigger threat to incels than even they might know by talking about this very issue. Because of her meteoric rise to fame, Chappell Roan went from 1 million Spotify listeners a month to 40 million in just a few months and became a household name, at least in every household with one queer person. So, naturally, she had no idea how to handle or any time to prepare for the number of fans, critics, and paparazzi that suddenly felt entitled to her time because she was famous. People came up to her in public and wouldn't take no for an answer when she said she didn't want to take a photo with them. Paparazzi were rude to her and were upset when she called it out and was upset about it. She felt like people saw her as more of an object to gawk at than an actual real-life human being with the right to privacy and respect. On her Instagram, she very validly called out the harassment that she had been faced with online and in person and asked for basic respect and decency. Chappell, without explicitly saying so, is critiquing parasocial relationships. According to dictionary.com, the term parasocial relationship refers to a relationship that a person imagines having with another person whom they do not actually know, such as a celebrity or fictional character. This often involves a person feeling as though they have a close, intimate connection with someone whom they have never met due to closely following that person or character in media. They may be considered unhealthy when they become extreme enough to interfere with real-life relationships or daily life. Incels' relationship to women doesn't necessarily fit the typical parasocial relationship mold, but it stems from the same problem. When online discourse becomes your primary or only source of socialization, you can lose touch with reality. The internet becomes your whole world and fundamentally changes your concept of reality. Whether it's believing that Chappell Roan is actually your best friend and has to be excited to see you, or believing that all women are the caricatures that incels made up, it is all unhealthy, harmful to everybody involved, and gets us closer and closer to living in that VR world from Ready Player One. Despite how awful all of it is, inceldom is something you can get out of. I don't know how many of these incels I've seen ask what people who go outside do. Having a complete lack of understanding of how the real world works is so harmful. So, even when it's difficult, we have to push ourselves and go live life. So go outside, have a picnic, take a class, go make a new friend, and build your support system. It is really hard and it takes a lot of time, but in the end, that support system is going to protect you much longer and much harder than these other incel boys ever will. If you're having trouble taking that first step, go to r/incelexit. It's a judgment-free community of people in your same position or people who have escaped the incel mindset. All the success stories are amazing to see, but I also like looking at the people who are still working towards leaving the incel community. It is so heartening to see people actually try when they know they're doing something that's harmful to them and the people around them. It may feel like it, but you are not alone. You can get out of this and it will be okay. To families and friends of boys and men, please make sure they have healthy examples of men and women and relationships between men and women. Please make sure you get them mental health care if you are able to, and look out if they are only on their phones or laptops and not doing anything else, especially if it's after a big event like the loss of a job, a breakup, or a personal loss in the family, because vulnerable people are the most likely to be radicalized. Helpful links pertaining to all of this stuff will be in the description, so please look there if you think any of these things apply to you. On a lighter note, before I end the video, I just want to thank everybody who's been supporting me throughout my first year in my YouTube experiment. It's so exciting! I hit 100 subs after the last video I made, and I'm so floored by just the response to that. You guys don't understand how much it makes me happy to see all of you commenting and telling me your stories, because that's like what really, really matters to me, is to connect to people. I don't just make videos in case one of them goes viral and I make a bunch of money. I make them because like I make videos that I think I would watch about things that I really care about, obviously based off of my YouTube name. So I really appreciate that you guys care about it too, or you care about listening to me long enough to listen to the stuff I care about. I really hope you guys stick around to watch me grow, because I think I will, and I will keep making videos about things I care about, and if you are like Sarah, I am so with you. I want to hear everything. Please subscribe, and please comment. I love comments. Love them, love them, love them. Unless you're mean, you can comment if you're mean too. It's your right. But nice and constructive criticism, love it. Love it. Okay. Love you all. See you later. Bye. You'd show me off to your friends at the pier. You said, baby, no attachments. I love Chappell Roan. I like what you like, what you like. Long hair. It's my type. That's right. Regardless of traditional societal standards, we live in a society. Yeah, we do. All the shut up. Shut up. Shut up, please.